Advisory Committee meeting for November 20th, 2025. So for the BAC, Daniel Krim here, Jen Hanks, Kevin Hayes,
I'm here. Hi, everybody.
Kevin, Estella Hollander, Samantha Meyer,
I'm here.
and Val Pyatt.
Here.
Excellent. And for the PAC, Matt McGrath.
Present.
Sean Balker,
I'm here.
Melanie Colavito,
Here.
Jonathan Day,
I'm here.
Jody Norris.
Here.
All right. Ron Norton
I'm here.
and Jay Wellman. That's amazing. That's really great attendance this year. So everybody, you make a note in the minutes? Do I need to go through the city staff or? No? Some semblance of city staff is here. I can. Open call to public comments.
I received one public comment.
You want to read it?
Email just before the meeting. I'll read it. This is from Lorena Reyes,
Ray.
who hoped to be here tonight but was unable. The email reads, when the city puts detour signs on Beaver Street for the recent Phoenix sewer construction project, the signs were obstructing the sidewalk and the bike lane as one was heading southbound on Beaver Street. This project wrapped up yesterday, but I wanted to note it was a dangerous spot for pedestrian and cyclists as the sign pushed us into uncomfortably close parallel car traffic.
Anybody else go by there during that time?
Yes,
period?
I agree. I plus 10 for a couple weeks too.
Yeah,
So
and I mean, I was trying to think of what they could have done better. And I did fall a little short, because also being on the sidewalk wouldn't be good for if you were in a wheelchair or stroller. I don't know, I didn't have great solutions, I don't know, but yeah, it definitely was a hazard, it did, yeah, push you into the street.
Announcements, BAC, PAC announcements.
at the end now,
Oh, it's at the end now.
isn't it, Martin?
Is that the
Yeah.
new?
Yeah.
Okay, let's table that.
Items.
Approval of minutes.
No minutes for approval.
Okay. And on to one of my favorite things, action item 5A, pedestrian bicycle crash data report.
Be just a moment here to share my screen. Both committees looked at this some months ago, and we finally finished updating the data to reflect 2024. And we added a few details to it. And I just wanted to take a few minutes to go through that, but give me just a moment. You want it over here?
I like your background, Sean.
Thank you. Lake Havasu.
Right.
So one thing that we did with this version is we have two different analyses based on locations. The first one is kind of at a detailed level, so it looks at short street segments and major intersections. And a short street segment might be a quarter of a mile long or something like that, usually between two major intersections. So that's kind of a very localized look at crashes, like where are they specifically happening? The other one is to aggregate those street segments and intersections into corridors. So for example, Milton from Phoenix all the way down to Forest Meadows consists of 3 different street segments and 5 different major intersections
And one corridor.
within one corridor, yeah. And so the data was divided that way. So, and then the second way the data is divided is into high crash locations in corridors and high injury locations in corridors. High crash just being the total number of crashes that occurred, either pedestrian or bicycles, and high injury being only the serious injury and fatal crashes. So a lot of like federal grants, for example, ask you to look at high injury crashes, not just all crashes. So this map, for example, shows high crash segments and intersections for pedestrian crashes.
Robbie, are those crashes that are just reported to the police?
Yes,
Okay.
yeah, yeah.
Because there may be more going into the hospital that aren't getting reported.
There are definitely more crashes than get reported. I'm not sure if you end up going to the hospital of that.
Okay.
I mean, I guess if you took yourself to the hospital and the police were never involved,
Right.
that wouldn't show up in the data, but definitely it's a known issue that crashes are underreported, especially bike and ped. And you can think about like a no injury crash. If you feel like you were okay after you were in a crash, you probably wouldn't report it to the police. Or if there's no damage or whatever. So this is the bike one. This is a little bit hard to see at this scale, but the lines are the street segments and then the circles are intersections.
And these are just any crashes involving a bike. So it could be like bike on bike or bike with ped or.
No, these all involve vehicles.
Vehicle, bike.
Yeah. So this doesn't include any of the, like we know, for example, that half of all crashes with bikes are just the bike. Going over the curb, hitting a tree, whatever. And then I'll show you these are the locations for high injury pedestrian crashes. So again, serious injury or fatal. I think for this one, there had to be at least 2 high injury crashes in a particular location for it to show up. So you can see there's a lot of 2s. The intersection at San Francisco and Route 66 has 4. And again, this is over a 10-year period. So these are not frequent occurrences, but every crash is significant. Every serious injury or fatal crash is worth noting. You can see at the east end of town, like the corridor from all the way, I forget what's the street that comes out?
Steve's?
Marketplace?
Yeah, it is Steve's, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh, it's
I know
to
somewhere
the west.
Yeah. And then there tend to be more serious pedestrian crashes. There are fewer serious bike crashes. So all of these segments and intersections only had 2 high injury bike crashes. And so that's that kind of location by location. This is what it looks like at a corridor level. And you can see which corridors had the most pedestrian crashes. Milton had the most at 33. The next highest was 19. But we can see some of the central ones and then 4th Street. And then part of Highway 89. We can look at, these are high crash bike corridors. Again, Milton, by far and away, at 42 bike crashes. The next highest one is 18.
Martin, that Milton safety study from a year or 2 ago, did anything happen with that? Do folks who is on these committees, do folks remember that as an ADOT?
So you're having that Butler discussion about lowering the speed limit. Prior to that was an ADOT presentation about their safety plan.
road safety assessment.
Yeah, it was a road safety assessment, yeah, for the Milton.
RSA.
Yeah, and then we reviewed it and they made a lot of suggestions to make it a safer corridor. Did any of those actions move forward in any way that you're all aware of? Getting looks of no back. Okay, just wondered.
This wouldn't be a bad idea to go back and pull that and see. I don't know that we were implementing any of the recommendations that ADOT has, but
Yeah.
let's go back and take a look at it.
And just to add to that, what we do use those sorts of road safety assessments for is when we look to apply for grants. Like I pulled on the Milton Corridor RSA document quite a bit I think it was related to an active transportation infrastructure grant that we applied to, because they make recommendations. So then it's a good place to cite. So it strengthens grant applications. I think that's maybe the farthest that it's gone as far as being utilized since it was created. But
One more comment. I find it interesting that the 89A segment on the east side of town was really, or always showed up for pedestrians, but it doesn't show up for bicycling.
but it's
Yeah, I was curious, like what, yeah, if it's like, what's, I guess, the drawing pedestrians, because I know there's like transit along there, there's that health center. Like, I'm curious where people, why there's more pedestrians than it seems like bike crashes, but yeah, maybe.
Because there's also a cafe on the side of 89 in that section. So that is what is interesting, is it is they're walking on the shoulder. I would expect.
we have a ongoing RSA on that corridor. And the preliminary results were shared. And now they're making some refinements and it will get given to us in early January in its final form. And then we can discuss it with the committees, what their findings and recommendations are.
I'm assuming that's ADOT is doing the RSA or who's doing?
So it's an ADOT program, but they hire a consultant to do it's a safety group that's doing the work. And part of what they're looking at is about half of it is city right of way. Half of it is ADOT right of way, but half is controlled by the city.
Is there any long-term plan for new bike lanes on 89A out to Donny? And except for shoulder?
No, our long-term plans are to provide a bikeway that is separate from 89. Put bike lanes on to have a route that people can use to get out to, at least to the city limits, and not have to be on 89A. So the pathway that's on the east, kind of the northwest side of the street, that goes past the Forest Service and the trailhead would be a part of that. And then we're trying to figure out how to get bikes through that commercial area on the west side of 89 and then come out at Lynch and Cummings. And then be able to go down and get onto the Foots Trail from there through the underpasses onto 66 and continue on if they're going that way.
There's been a proposal for something like that like 15 years ago or something, and I thought some community people rejected. I know I was really shocked by the response of the community. I don't know if it was exactly that segment, but it was heading out to Donny Park. I wasn't sure how much research had already been.
Referring to the Timberline Trail?
Might be.
Yeah. That was a trail proposed by the county as part of their Parks and Open Space bond to go from.
No, there was a voter
City
who wanted
limits.
to not pass or.
Yeah. Yeah, I went to one of the public meetings. There's a lot of opposition to it from people in Donny Park. This isn't going out quite that far. This is all, because we're in the city, city. The Forest Service, their trail plan will go out to, at least to Thompson Winona Road, maybe further. So we'll see if there's any opposition to that. But that's all on Forest Service.
Matt, I see you got your hand up.
So I was just going to kind of just what Martin said. Forest Service got a grant from ADOT this year to study and basically design a trail going from what we Forest Service built coming off of Buffalo Park, kind of that 5 foot crushed fine finish trail last winter. Looking at building that out here to the mall, to basically the Forest Service office, and then also looking at taking it up to, like, I don't never know the street names up there, but like to the Subway and Pizza Edge. There's a couple of private property issues right when we get up there, but we got that grant for the design, and optimistic that next year we'll get a grant for construction of that. So hopefully we'll be able to help with that. It's not as good as a Foots, but it's pretty darn close.
That's great news. Awesome. Yeah.
Okay, so 2 more maps. One is the corridors that are high injury. And again, in this case, we see Milton Road as the most at 14, a significant number on 89 at 10. And then some of the other roads in the central part of town. We haven't really talked about it, but 4th Street has been showing up in all the lists we have. I think for some of the streets in the central area, it's as much a factor of exposure, like how many pedestrians and bikes are out there, as anything else. But when you look at 4th Street and 89, it has to be something different. I don't think we have as many heads and bikes in that area. Here's the bicycle high injury. Again, there are fewer high injury crashes for bicyclists. And just to give you the numbers, 29% of pedestrian crashes are either serious injury or fatal. 15% of bike crashes are serious injury or fatal. The one that stands out to me for this one is Fort Valley Road. And without looking further into the data, I'm reasonably certain that it's related to the Foots Trail along the east side and the number of side streets that it crosses.
What's that?
On the west side from like Navajo.
Totally.
Gotcha.
I missed
Up to Seacrest, essentially that switches sides. We can look at one other thing. This is, I'll blow that up a little bit. This is for each one of the high crash corridors, the percentage of pedestrian crashes that are high injury, so serious injury or fatal. And as I mentioned, all ped crashes, 29% are serious injury or fatal. So these corridors have higher than average high injury crashes. And, of course, what jumps out is Highway 89. 71% of pedestrian crashes are serious injury or fatal. For Route 66, that's through the central part of town, it's 53%. San Francisco, 44, Milton, 42, Fort Valley, 43. We can look at the same for high injury bike crashes along those corridors. And again, there are fewer high injury bike crashes. The average is 15%, but Beaver, Fort Valley, the west part of Route 66, Butler, and 4th are all above, higher than average in terms of serious injury. Questions, comments? Otherwise, we'll go to all this you've seen before. It's been in previous reports. So we added a section at the end that deals with just prevalent crash types. And there are 4. I'll go through them. So the first one is nighttime pedestrian crashes. There were 120, or 38% of all pedestrian crashes happen in darkness. So that's pretty significant. So we looked at where they're happening and whether they result in higher than average serious injury or fatalities. And you can see we'll look at the maps in a second to see these, but again, 29% of all pedestrian crashes, 40% of nighttime pedestrian crashes are high injury or fatal. And just to back up a second, it's it's easy to see why pedestrian crashes result in more serious injuries or fatalities. Like anytime a pedestrian is getting hit by a car, and it's kind of an unfair collision, so it's not surprising that they're seriously injured more frequently. So we can look at the maps. This is the concentration of where nighttime pedestrian crashes occur. I don't know in any of these maps if anything really jumps out at me. Generally, that indicates a particular issue at a particular location. It kind of follows from where all pedestrian crashes are occurring, it seems. And then we could look at so these are again kind of difficult to see at this scale, but so a couple on Milton, some downtown intersections, part of Route 66, 4th Street, and then the intersection at Fanning and Route 66. That I think we got kind of a preview of some of the data from the RSA that Chris mentioned, and I think Fanning and Route 66 is going to feature prominently in terms of pedestrian crashes.
Not 5 and by campus. Yeah, that's like Franklin and San Francisco.
That's Butler in San Francisco.
Oh, Butler.
Yeah.
Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. Okay.
So the next one is pedestrian crashes where the pedestrian was flagged for did not use the crosswalk. And that was represented 44% of pedestrian crashes where there was a violation for the pedestrian. So not all, but 66 crashes or 66 pedestrians were flagged for that. They tend to be more serious injury, 56%, or fatal. No intersection. So I guess like at major intersections, there's already a crosswalk. So it would be difficult for there to be a pedestrian who didn't use the crosswalk, or more difficult, I guess.
Is there a map of that?
Yeah, there's a map. And then for segments, they're both on 4th Street. So let's look at
So this is did not use crosswalk.
yeah, I think that here's the concentration. And then here are the locations. And one possible way to interpret this is where pedestrians aren't using crosswalks, maybe the areas where there aren't crosswalks, where it just isn't.
That's definitely
A quarter mile to the closest crosswalk.
Yeah,
Milton.
yeah, Milton's one.
It's not too that there was a crosswalk. They used it. Like they didn't wait for the walk hand. This is just there was no crosswalk, right? So
Right.
they used it.
Yeah. In the old days, they would be called jaywalkers, but that's a pejorative term we won't use.
How easy is it to take that hotspot map and overlay it with crosswalks?
Very easy.
That would be very helpful. Yeah,
Because it would show where crosswalks are and what aren't, and where people are being forced to cross because there aren't, like, anyway, connect it up.
You don't mind me interrupting for just a second? Did I hear you say this doesn't show people who were using the crosswalk, but not when it's that don't walk or walk, correct?
Picking up.
Can you say that again, Kevin? You were kind of breaking up on this end.
I'm sorry. I guess I have heard someone say is this isn't related to these are about not about from using the crosswalk when it says don't walk, correct?
I think that would be a different violation. So he asked if
Okay.
if pedestrians who are crossing against the light, like when the pedestrian light is red instead of being in the walk. Is that right, Kevin?
That's exactly what I'm trying to figure out. Yeah.
And that would be a different violation.
Got you. Okay. Thank you.
Like,
Yeah, the only one that feels like an anomaly here is this is a section of Butler between Milton and Lone Tree.
But,
Actually, San Francisco, I take that back.
yeah, when, this data is 10 years of data, right?
Yeah,
When did that rapid flashing beacon, or when did that go in?
3 years.
I bet it's been close to 10 years, yeah.
You go back to the hotspot, Matt?
Sure.
Speaking of no crosswalks, I just want to mention this quickly, and sorry to interject this right now, I do have to leave in 15 minutes, but at Cherry and Humphreys, there's no crosswalk there, but there is a little crosswalk sign. Do you know what I'm talking about?
I do.
I just don't know if that was something,
So one of them was with an arrow pointing
Yeah.
or something, but there's no crosswalk.
right
I
across
just try
from
to
the
stop whenever.
Catholic school there. By the hairdressers, and yeah, I just recently realized that, so. I'm not sure if this was
My
the
daughter,
time to bring
my-
that up, but I wanted to mention it.
yeah,
So-
my daughter has to cross there every other day during the week. So there's nothing. There's a nice sign, but nothing.
That's a
Nothing
tough one.
nothing painted,
Yeah.
yeah.
And that's
It
a
is a
tough one
really
because
tough one.
it's, people try to come from northbound on Cherry and try to jump out into traffic real quick while people are like, do I cross here or not cross here? And yeah, that's pretty wild intersection right there.
So two thoughts. One is that even though the crosswalk isn't marked, it's still a legal crosswalk. Like you have, if you're crossing the street there, you have all the rights and responsibilities of being in a crosswalk. Two, and I think maybe somebody can do a little sleuthing for us, maybe even while we're in this meeting, but when the school was there many years ago, I believe that there was a school crosswalk at Cherry on Humphreys. Like I believe it was painted yellow.
Yep.
Somebody can, all right, Carlton remembers.
Pretty sure, yeah.
So the sign is an artifact probably that was never, like the crosswalk was never wore out, was never repainted. The sign was never taken down.
They should take it down.
Or they
add
should
the
paint
stripes.
it. Yeah, they should paint it.
That empowers pedestrians.
Yeah. I think we probably all know what it looks like. But
Give it a Google map.
yeah, I'm just, it's even got a little arrow pointing out. Pedestrians are,
Good catch.
it's definitely caused a lot of intra-car discussion, like, that's a crosswalk. No, it's not. Slow down. There's pedestrian there. No, it's not. People are gonna get confused if I stop. This is actually
know,
happened
that
between
kind
me
of
and
been
people
there.
in the car with me. Where-
So I'll make another observation that sign that has the pedestrian, the warning sign with the pedestrian, the arrow pointing down for crosswalks. Like the old MUTCD standard used to have like two lines going through the pedestrian to indicate that there was like a striped crosswalk. They took that out because the pedestrian, like I said, that there can be a legal crosswalk even if it isn't marked with the lines. So they changed the signage so that this sign can be used even if the crosswalk's not marked.
So we can make a lot of these signs, is what you're saying?
Are drivers aware of that fact?
That's the key thing to me.
Anyways, sorry for the digression.
So are we making a specific recommendation to engineering or the people that paint sidewalk stripes, streets? What does it take to have streets go out and paint a crosswalk on the asphalt?
Complicated
Work
process.
order?
It's complicated, more than a work order.
Do you at least have a couple planned on that segment already for either a rapid flashing or I mean, I thought under the plans for like the 5-year plan on Humphreys, there are one or two planned.
We're looking at fine would be where it would go. I think kind of between Fort Valley and Birch, and then the high school demand.
I'll just say you're talking about fine crossing Humphreys, right?
Yeah.
For a crosswalk, yeah. So ideally, I mean, that's a great spot when it comes to like flow of traffic because everybody turns, if you're taking your kid to Flag High, everybody turns left off of Humphreys on Elm. Or a lot of people do. So putting a crosswalk there will snarl traffic for all up and down Humphreys. But if you put it at Fine, it's at it's at a place where it's not as visible to traffic coming up the hill. So there's a visibility issue at Fine, just to throw a monkey wrench into things.
Does ADOT have a separate like warrant process for a marked crossing versus just that sign?
Yes,
Yeah, okay.
they do. In the Carlton can speak to the details of that warrant. The first one that usually disqualifies it is there need to be 20 pedestrians crossing in a peak hour, and very few places have that volume.
Does crash data go into the warrant process?
Yeah, I forget if it's just a stripe one. They have a separate, ADOT at least, they have a separate striped crosswalk and PHP warrant worksheet. Crashes in some of it, one of them.
I'm a little confused. How do you get a warrant if there's no crosswalk, but you need 20 people crossing their demand?
Exactly. It's very backwards logic. Yeah, we don't wait. You can start.
So if I go and like
River.
act as a flagger at the connection hub, crossing Milton to the bike path underpass, 20 people to rapid fire across that,
Mhm.
would that warrant?
You gotta be there at the right time.
That was,
Yeah, that's counting. Martin, can you shoot out an email when ADOT's counting?
Flash mob.
there was a city that recently painted their own, like people got together and painted their own crosswalks. They did. It was like in LA, I think, like 30 people came together, closed off streets, wore vests, painted crosswalks.
You get a different kind of warrant for that.
It's a version of tactical urbanism. All I can really recommend on that question is I believe it will be tackled as an item in the Safe Streets Master Plan. So we'll have to kind of pay attention to when that comes up, because I think it's something that's worth talking about. The requirement to have 20 pedestrians crossing per hour, the analogy is, imagine deciding where to put a bridge across a river based on how many cars are crossing the river.
We dug into the history of it. I think I found the original source of where that 20 came from too, and it's been copied and pasted in multiple different engineering warrant analyses. And its context was a very walkable downtown environment to try to not have a crosswalk every 100 feet or so. It's like, let's prioritize it where there's about, like they even qualified the 20 within their text there. Let's prioritize the spots that have about at least 20 people already crossing there. And then that turned into this magic, much more hard rule that's in tables and
frequently quoted, and lots of agencies rely on it. It's a sort of thing that hopefully in the Safe Streets Master Plan, we'll have a discussion about what makes sense to have for the city to have as a policy for crossings. Okay, that's a good conversation. 22% of pedestrians in crashes were suspected to be under the influence of alcohol, so we ran the numbers on that. Again, they're more likely to be serious injury or fatal, 48% compared to 29% for all pedestrian crashes. Here's the concentration map.
It's only alcohol related?
Yeah, so this is where the pedestrian in a crash was suspected of being under the influence of alcohol.
like all the crash types more or less like align, like that, so, like, they're just bad intersections, they're bad areas.
That might be the lesson, yeah. I mean, it was interesting to see if there were a geographic component to these particular crash types. I think maybe the only one that we're really getting something out of is that did not use crosswalk one. Seems to tell a story. This one, San Francisco, those two intersections, but those showed up for all pedestrian crashes as well.
Not so much on Beaver, seems real interesting, it feels.
Yeah, if
The same two crossing points on Beaver aren't on half of these.
Are angrier going home from work than they are coming to work. When I'm going south on
Either way.
Beaver, I'm going to work. When I'm coming home north on San Francisco, I am pretty stressed out and angry at that point. And traffic gets worse, a lot worse at that point.
There's more businesses on San Francisco than Beaver. Like Beaver is it's more residential on that stretch until you get to Nemarcos. And then on the same stretch, you have like that, Awakapa place. And whatever else is there.
It's essentially commercial, like,
Yeah.
all the way up to the courthouse. When people start really speeding.
so, I do note on this map, 4th Street shows up again, but I don't remember. I guess there's kind of a concentration along there. Maybe they're more spread out to show up as a concentration, but their numbers are there. And then, of course, Highway 89 again. Here's Fanning and Route 66. So there were 3 at that intersection, and 2 on the adjoining street segment.
We still on the alcohol-related crashes?
Yes, yeah. So the last of the 4 are bicycles and right-turning vehicles, and this is 38% of all bicycle crashes involve a right-turning vehicle. They tend to be less severe than other bicycle crashes. 7% are serious or fatal, compared to 15% of all bicycle crashes. I guess that stands to some reason. If a car is making a right turn, they're probably not going very fast.
What was the percentage?
7% for right turn vehicles versus 15% for all bike crashes. Wow, Milton.
What's the red spot on?
Reardon.
Is it?
Reardon, yeah. This one is by the Taco Bell and Napa and Walmart, and I believe it's related to that Foots Trail there. See if we can see it.
I was hit there.
Yeah, so wow, Milton, for sure, that part of Butler.
I was hit there by a right turning car and I didn't report it. I had it.
I'm not sure why this is on Ponderosa Route 66. I know there's a lot of crashes there, and I imagine a lot of them are right turning vehicles, but it didn't show up. There weren't at least 3, I guess, over 10 years. So 6 in this segment of Milton. And since that shows up as a segment versus an intersection, that I'm guessing that a lot of those are driveways.
Is there anything in like Denver or San Fran or any cool trendy biking city that has future 2025 right turn technology for bikes?
There's cities that have gotten rid of right turn on red. I mentioned this during some meeting. City of Cambridge does allow right turn on red.
No like auto detection that you're coming and it flares and like turn around, there's a bike coming.
You need one of the Taco Bell drive-through exit. And you would, every one of the people coming out of all of those driveways, their heads are firmly pointed left to look to see when they can turn out. I'd love it if they had at least a mirror or something, maybe a flasher.
Back to last week's conversation with you, Carlton, or last month's, about the safe kid streets and the green lines being painted and stuff like that. Yeah, and just extending any green markings and just saying that it's gonna happen to maintenance. And saying that they need to figure it out because it's the safety of people interacting in our city. I think Milton would be an awesome corridor for as much marking as possible.
But that is a potential countermeasure because at least vehicle will see the green paint and know that it's something different. And it's maybe alert them to the possibility that there might be a bike.
It's certainly something.
Okay, that's the end of the report. We will forward this on to the Transportation Commission, but we have it as an action items for the two committees if you want to separately make a motion just to accept it. We can wait till the February Transportation Commission to put it on. So if you want to take some more time and read it, come back and make the motion at a subsequent meeting if you would rather do that. It's up to you. What are our options?
We can approve it now or we can wait.
Have a chance to review it. If you want to have more discussion on it, you're more than welcome to do that.
Is there a link to it? I didn't see a link in the agenda.
It was only attached to the agenda, so I'm not sure.
It's attached to the agenda?
Yeah, there's a link that's attached to the agenda, but not available more broadly. Not sure I understand it.
So I go to the agenda, there's a link in the agenda where I can review that.
Yeah. I can send it out separately as well, just as a standalone document, PDF.
Is it like a hyperlink in the agenda?
I couldn't find this time's agenda. I couldn't find
Yeah.
any links in it.
So
I don't know if I
It
saw.
was like the first ever Martin agenda without a hyperlink. I was gonna comment on that during the.
There's no links in your agenda.
Other than the Zoom link.
Are you okay? What happened?
I know, well, every other one, there's like at least 3 documents in there, somewhere in there, like, here's the master plan that we're gonna be reviewing.
yeah, it's in the agenda. You click on it, hyperlink.
It is in there, okay.
Oh, yeah,
We're still kind of working through when.
Can you open?
Martin, I have a moving forward question not related to approving this. For people using micromobility devices, one, are they included in this data, like on scooters? Are they included in this data set and how? And two, would they be included in the future as either a distinct category or as one of those two categories?
It's definitely this meeting.
Let me double check. I think that they are moving
you're-
forward, a distinct category.
Yeah.
I think the data that we have, like the data,
Historically doesn't
they're
include it.
they're gonna be.
Well, that makes sense. That's why I was asking if you know how they may have historically been counted.
It's because the crash report didn't have that as an option. You couldn't mark
Right,
ability on the crash report, so it was never captured.
Right.
And then, yeah, the instructions were to mark it as like somebody on a skateboard as a pedestrian.
I don't know if it's is it on the new improved crash report?
I believe it is.
I don't know. It seems like they're always
It's just a
adding new
curiosity.
functions.
It doesn't relate to my opinion on
Perfect,
this
that's what
report. I would just like to know.
And what exactly are
It's a
we?
really good question though, because I think there are lots of micromobility crashes happening in the community that
Totally.
probably need to be tracked. And on that, how often do you do these reports? Like is it annual or every
10 years?
10 years?
No, we've
It's data.
between those two,
Okay.
we've been doing it every couple of years. The rest of transportation is doing like a larger report for all crashes, all vehicle crashes, and I think they're aiming to do that every year. I mean, we could take your direction. Every year probably seems like a lot, but every couple of years maybe more reasonable.
Is there any way to partner with the hospital too for data? Because, I mean, my husband works there in orthopedic trauma, like on-call nurse practitioner, and he says like they're just getting lots of patients and like it seems like way more than what's on this.
So
screen.
I can help with that. There are definitely limitations to the data that we can get from the hospital because it's wholly dependent on documentation of where the injury occurred. And there's not really a good spot for that in the nursing documentation. EMS documents it well, but then that's dependent on EMS responding, in which case usually the police are there as well. So I don't think there's a lot of value to getting the EMS reports. I can look through the trauma data. That's very specific, but if it's a patient that makes it into the trauma registry, they're typically pretty injured and usually I would imagine police are involved. So there's a lot of limitations to what we can get. If they're not severely injured, it's not necessarily going to be well documented in the ER record.
What would we be approving? I mean, we don't like approve of all these crashes. What are we saying by approving it?
Approved crashes.
I think the motion is worded just to accept the report and forward it to the Transportation Commission.
That seems like that would be productive for everybody.
To move that forward.
Any comments on moving that forward? I don't see any issue.
Yeah. I think it's a great idea.
Motion to approve moving this forward to the Transportation Committee.
Do you need to do just BAC or
Just BAC.
can he do both?
He can't do both motions. He can,
Omnibus motion to approve. So what do I have to do?
I'll
one
make
at a
a
time?
motion or second. This is Kevin. I'll make a motion or second. If Daniel's the first, I'll make the second.
Just for the BAC.
just for the BAC.
Yeah.
All in favor, say aye.
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 Any nays? Ayes have it. And then does Matt need to do the hack?
No, you can, as long as somebody makes them, just ask for somebody to make a motion and have it second.
I'll make the motion for the things. That,
Okay, any seconds for the PAC motion to approve to send it to the Transportation Committee?
Second,
Yeah, I'll second.
All PACs in favor, say aye.
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 Who was the second? I didn't, sorry. I didn't-
Sean got in, I think,
That was Matt.
like a second, half second before.
Any nays on that? Ayes have it.
Excellent. Thank you. Good conversation. Good questions. So,
David, do you want to bring those over here and put them in the middle?
Everyone
Thank
knows
you.
too, and they're from yesterday, some other HR event.
Still fine.
that we all got.
Halloween.
I see those ones with like rings on them. What?
We got
It's an autumn.
invited to come eat them yesterday, like the rest of city
I'll
also.
freak out on this
They
thing.
are fair game.
If anyone doesn't want their ring that comes with it, I will take them.
are they edible? Oh, it's not edible.
No, my
Something.
child, my kid will freak out on these.
We ready to move on to the mode share report?
Appreciate it.
Ready?
Yeah, so we can pass that one. We don't have anything prepared for that. We can pass on it. Save it for future agenda.
Are we gonna do it? Are we gonna do mode share in Flagstaff? Is that the contract that we're looking at?
That's
Some sort of party
that's
company?
that's micro-mobility. Yeah,
Okay.
mode share is just data on how many people are walking and biking in Flagstaff.
Okay.
As part of that, could you request for the mode share people that they put in there that they have to report crashes to you? Because that would be the data from that end completely. Or at least that end of it, the rental program, not college students owning their own.
That's a good idea in the contract to say that the micro mobility contract includes reporting directly
With
to
geodata.
one.
And like an instance report, honestly, because were they at a crosswalk now? Did they push the button? No.
Six A, capital planning for the ped and bike projects.
So the city has started the capital improvement program process we go through every year. It culminates in approval of a budget by council in June. There are really two components. One is essentially the operating budget for the city. The other is the capital program. And it's the capital program one that we're interested in because it describes all of the pedestrian and bicycle projects that we're planning to implement over the next 5 years.
Whoever's running this.
Chris, can you make that a little bit bigger?
Yep, no problem.
Where is Chris?
I don't know.
There's a coincidence, like Chris doesn't hear. We're trying to figure out how to, like, he's gonna share maps and we have this list and we're trying to figure out how to do that. One thing was clear, like, I can't do it. So Chris is back at his desk doing it. So we've been through this, for a number of years. And, I think some of the projects will be familiar to you. So we've gone, sat down the last couple of days and thought about what has changed since the capital improvement plan was approved last time. And the things that change are there are city capital projects, there's private development that either have moved forward or are moving forward that affect our capital projects. I'm gonna kind of limit the conversation tonight just to think the things that are different. This will come back at the December meetings and we'll hopefully have more of something closer to a final product for you to look at to see what we're planning. And then by the end of the year, our input is due for capital requests. So it'll be essentially finalized at that point, at least in draft form. There's a council retreat in February where they take 2 days and review nothing but the capital program. We typically make a presentation to them to describe what projects we have going forward, answer questions, and then at a date later on, sometime before the end of the fiscal year, the council will vote to approve the capital plan. At a practical level, if something is in year 1 of the capital program, it means it's in the budget. So we have money to spend for it. If it's in 2 through 5, it just means that it's kind of the next layer of priorities. Presumably, those projects will move up as we move forward in time and we'll have funding for them as well. So we divide the capital program into different types of facilities. So we have foot trails, bikeways, sidewalks, enhanced crossings, and grade separated crossings. So what I have highlighted here in green is what I intended to kind of bring up with you. The first 3 trail projects there, Mountain View, Hoskins, Sinclair Ridge, Sawmill, we've been working on. Carlton has drawn plans for the second 2, and we're having Peak draw up some preliminary plans for Mountain View and Hoskins. So those are moving forward. We think they can become capital programs, capital projects in the next year. So we're going to include funding. Just a word about Mountain View. This goes from the end of Lone Tree, like where the Lone Tree improvements end at Sawmill, swinging over west onto campus. And another leg is going to go south to connect to the Sinclair Wash Trail. This is going to help us with, show us locations where that adds to the conversation.
So, excuse me, look at Mountain View Hoskins first. So that refers to this greater system through here, ultimately connecting O'Leary over to NAU campus.
You guys remember that one from it's been in the program for a couple of years.
Question, so they're building that new light just south of Franklin, on Sawmill. Is there an opportunity? I know they're not building like a fourth leg on the intersection, I don't believe, but I don't know if there's an opportunity now that there will be a signalized freeway intersection to connect to this new trail.
Yes,
Been thought of.
yes, a significant opportunity. Because our trail will connect to that. It'll be aligned a little bit differently from this, but you'll be able to cross with that new light, get on this trail on the west side of Lone Tree, and it will take you straight onto campus. Or north to Route 66 or south to the Sinclair Wash Trail. So it kind of all works together with that Lone Tree overpass and some of the changes that are being made to Lone Tree as well. I think this shows it kind of veering away, but the foots will definitely be on what would have been the fourth leg of that intersection.
Okay. Be a nice connector.
Moving on, the list, there are 3 trails that are becoming more important because of private development. One is the Fox Glen Trail, just west of Fox Glen Park. And there's a residential development a little bit south of where, yeah. So those
Is it
two, yeah,
this group?
that group will connect to the existing Fox Glen Trail through a residential development, eventually all the way over to the Arizona Trail, but this is just a piece of it.
I'll turn on our existing foots network just so that we're able to see the connections. That'll be this green color.
Yeah. So what's happening is that kind of that wooded piece to the south is developing as a single family subdivision. An extension of 4th Street is going to be their main access point. We're having them build an underpass under 4th Street where the trail goes under, and then in exchange for that, we'll build that trail. So we're relieving them of their obligation to build a trail in exchange for building that underpass as part of 4th Street. And then we'll come back. We would have had to build a short section of trail anyway to connect to the existing trail because their obligation would have ended short of the existing trail. Again, this is new since last year where this development has been proposed. So we're addressing it by including funding for that trail in the capital plan. The next one on our list is Southwest Crossing. This is the trail that connects behind Staples. The city's building a new park. And the trail needs to be reconnected basically to work with the park. It's not going to look quite like this. It's going to be more straight from the end of McConnell. The grades are not great there. It's pretty steep. People use it as a sledding hill pretty frequently. One way that this trail connection becomes important, if you think of the kind of the larger connectivity, going east on McConnell takes you straight into the South Campus. Going kind of to the west and south, we go under I-40 through University Heights, out the backside of University Heights, and that's going to become a main point of connectivity for all that development that's in the Southwest. Not great connectivity by any stretch, but it will be connectivity. There's also some big hills.
E-bike.
Yeah, so you can see the planned yellow lines, and that whole area out there is planning on being developed. They're working with the city now on development plans. So it's important for us to have that foots connectivity into University Heights. There's a street section, and then our trail picks back up. If you think about it, if you lived in that future neighborhood, like where you would go on bike, if you didn't have this connection is. I mean, your choices are literally either, Woody Mountain Road to Route 66.
Is that Woody Mountain Road? Where's?
Yeah, that's on the west part, yeah. Or the other way, I don't even know how you'd get there. I think it would rely on future roads.
Trying to think about like the Forest
Beulah.
Service or.
Yeah, Purple Sage to Beulah.
What's that to the left? That's like gray shaded.
Oh, that's, Flag Ranch Golf Club, that out of the
Okay.
city, yeah.
Can't bike here.
County folk.
Where's the Flagstaff Loop Trail? Well, with regard to, is it further west?
It is that yellow line on the west that kind of follows Woody Mountain Road.
Oh.
Yeah. That's
And then
that's the Flagstaff Loop Trail.
where it kinks is that trailhead, in its far western part is the trailhead, and then it becomes the single track, and it's not shown here. Single track, and then you can get into Fort Tail Hill from the top, the west side.
I rode that last weekend. It is hard to follow. I think I went
Yeah.
off of it a few times.
The loop trail itself,
Yeah.
the single track part down
The
there.
single track part was okay. I feel like when I cross over, like under that 17?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh, the whole
17,
loop.
that part, yeah.
Yeah, it's a little bit, yeah, there's no signs. I think
Yeah.
it's a little bit, you have to go through neighborhoods. Yeah, yeah. So a couple of other, Foots projects. I'll skip around a bit. The city, Matt mentioned earlier that there's grant funding for, a trail along the base of Mount Eldon. We, the city, have planned a couple of connecting points to get from those city neighborhoods up to that trail to make it, more useful for commuting. We intend to include some money for, those connecting trails that might be able to be, we haven't talked to the Forest Service about this, so this is new to Matt. And it's not in the capital program yet, but if we include money to include those connecting trails, it could be part of the Forest Services project, but it would give them match money for a future grant, to make their match and to include those connecting trails. Does that make sense? So they need to have a 5.7% match for their overall grant. If we include that in our capital plan for those connecting trails, that might be able to be used for that match. So they wouldn't have to have any cash, in other words. And the amount we're thinking of is about $150,000. They are, not just recreational. I think there's a commuting function to them, and it's within city limits. So I think we can, we kind of pass a legal test for spending, city dollars on that.
As far as spending $150,000, would there be higher priority projects to throw that to as far as like actual commuters? Like, because if you're getting that path back there, there's so many labyrinth paths anyway. If you're already commuting on bike, like it's gonna be snowed in anyway. You know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
summer wise, there are so many trails back there already to make anything you want work, like Forbidden Meadow, anything around Eldon to get to that side, Cheshire. I could see the value, yes, but as far as a priority, 150,000 of different trails.
For the 8 to 80 segment, big me here, I used to try riding those. I don't touch them now. They're too bumpy for bike streets. I did go and try to ride some of them because there's the Bike Streets app that was trying to make connections. And they are not friendly for a lot of people, including me on my double suspension e-bike. so even with the assistance sometimes, and even with the double suspension, I find those really challenging, unless it's changed.
They're thinking of, Matt can jump in too, but they're thinking of like a 4 foot surface
From
path.
USGS to Eldon, right?
Yeah,
If you want to get to the mall, that would be the best way to go.
Yeah, it would.
so
Or to drop
even
your car.
with a
It's a
foot,
nightmare getting to the mall otherwise.
It is.
Well, and as far as like, if it holds them up on doing anything, I'm certainly like, absolutely, that's awesome to do that.
Does this map show where those connections would be? Or, cause I was thinking the connections would be more like on the east side, those neighborhoods.
Chris, you can try turning on single track access. That might show them.
Okay, I was looking for it. I'm not sure if we have trails in this project. Single track access, okay. I
Yeah,
see.
yeah, try that one. You might have to make it.
We'll make it a unique color, see if it jumps out. It's purple. Okay,
And try double clicking that and taking off the definition query. I think maybe more will show up. Yeah, take off, just
I can
keep
just
the single
remove
track
it.
access, but take the other ones off.
Classic. Okay. There's some more.
Well, there's a lot of them.
The scene.
So you're gonna get like 8 paths for $150,000? You're gonna do all those? Sounds like a deal.
The actual paths, like, but
Yes, but not as wide.
yeah, like they would match the profile there.
Yeah.
48.
These are all the existing ones and the planned ones, so not all of these, some of these may remain as single track. Some like the longer one, some of them may be converted or established as more of a commuter trail.
Methodist Church connector? Is that centered purple? Is that the church? Just want to make sure that it's the church. Top of fourth. Sorry, the top of fourth.
Yeah, that's the one.
Yeah. It's kind of the side since going. Oh yeah, cool. So would the Methodist Church one be made into a 48 then? Like, is that what these are showing? Like, we don't know if they're single track or not.
Not all, yeah, all these are single track. Not all of them are official, not all of them would be made into commuter style trails, but the more important ones, I forget which ones the Forest Service was thinking about. I think the one that's kind of the squiggly purple one from the end of the green one would be one.
Oh, here.
Yeah, that one.
I would vote for Methodist Church one because that's a big fourth corridor for commuters coming off of Fourth. And if they don't have a suspension bike, that is a little gnarly get up to Pipeline.
It is. So I think to your other question or comment, Jay, I think part of this process is deciding just that, like if we don't have unlimited funds or unlimited resources to deliver these projects, which ones are the most important to spend the city's time and the city's money on?
I would say if it's holding up, like in my opinion, if it's holding up this project, then 100% like put money at it. It'd be so cool to have that trail. Same time, there's so many connectors already that some of them are very like a short hike a bike to get to the pipeline and or the new trails that are putting in. It's $150,000. I don't know monetary building anything, but it might be more valuable for a higher project immediately. But yeah, of course. That was my only thought. And then how many people are really commuting off of Eldon Lookout?
Yeah, I did just ride up Fourth all the way to that church with Dre, who folks probably know. And we had to stop a lot just because of how steep the hill is. So I don't know if people would use it as commuting unless, if you were going down, for sure.
You're talking about Pipeline?
Yeah, well, just if you were, I don't know. I'm sure you would eventually, if you were using Pipeline, come down on Fourth. That would probably happen because it's a major corridor. Going up the other way, I don't know if people would go, but all of that area is steep, so maybe
It's just like, what neighborhood for commuting does that really serve?
I mean, I don't know.
Yeah, I mean,
Maybe.
I live in Cheshire and I would prefer to take what's essentially a protected bike path to get to the east side, whenever I'm going to the east side.
But yeah, I think you'd have to climb, the way I understand it, and Mark corrected, how far up Eldon do you have to be? Like you would leave Cheshire and bike a long way up Eldon to get
I
around.
don't think it's that far. It's before it turns to, well, it's right after it turns to gravel, I think.
Right,
So like the first little hill.
but you would probably dip Forbidden Meadow before that then. Right?
Yeah, but Forbidden Meadow gets me to like
Oh, yeah, then
Buffalo
you're back to the
Park.
street.
I'm not on the east side, then I have to like go with traffic. So this would get me to the east side.
No, I hear that for you.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that direction, I mean, you could take it the other way. It's just, it would be.
And if it is, like right now, Pipeline, like I ride my full suspension mountain bike on it, but if we have a 5-foot wide path, I'm riding my e-commuter bike
I'm all
on
for
it. Yeah.
If it's holding up an awesome project, then I was just saying, never mind.
Has been a struggle to get people across that
That
side
way.
of town
It's-
without, other than going down to Route 66 for feeling protected, for feeling like you would
Yeah.
want to take your kids on this bike ride. Or to feel like, and thinking about what are we gonna be like in 10 years? As an e-bike person, I think there's gonna be a lot of e-bikes that are gonna be saying, no big deal, that hill,
Right.
we'll just
Yeah,
ride on
I
over to
agree.
Buffalo Park on Saturday, no, don't have to worry about the parking. The kids can come, it's totally safe for them to join the, just like this idyllic future. All because of the e-bike and this trail. Okay, a little too idyllic, but,
No,
but I
think
do
you're
think
right.
there's
So
gonna
then
be a lot more of them.
Maybe Fourth does make sense just in terms of how far you could get then south. Maybe that does make more sense as a connecting point. Even though Fourth is, as we just saw from all the crash data, also very hazardous.
Do we really want to funnel people over there?
But it is a really, I mean, it's an efficient way and there are improvements on some parts of it, so just not the stretch where all the crashes happen.
The easier you make anything, the more people then are gonna be users. So, and Fourth would, in my mind, be a big corridor.
Some of them will stop at the school because
Because
they
we all
like
know
it.
Fourth
Yeah,
for
the
Telly's
friends.
is better than 180 for Telly's.
Well, and I think this isn't as much about holding up the Mount Eldon, but it just connects it to our bus system in a clean manner that makes it more usable to more people. Is that a?
That's the idea, yeah.
Fair characterization?
Trail has to connect the neighborhood. Be usable.
Yeah.
Okay,
I like it.
in the interest of time, I think I'm gonna, let me just say, have a few more, thoughts and then we can kind of move on with the agenda. As part of this process, we have an amount, at the very top, called project pre-design that lets us do some concept planning for different projects to understand how they're gonna work, and we've been using that more. We've identified a handful of other foot trails, sidewalks, bikeways, et cetera, that we can use that money for to do more detailed study and help get them closer to being a capital project. So with that, understand that we do have other projects to look at and sidewalks, bikeways, crossings, grade separated crossings, but let's save that to the next meeting. We take a look at it. We'll have hopefully information that we can share with you or maps or something ahead of time, so you'll be able to look at it.
And your presentation at the retreat is in February.
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah. To the council. So before that, we have to submit all of our information, which projects we want to work on, what the cost is, et cetera.
So the December meeting would be a good one to kind of give you our.
Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah. Like maybe we should plan to spend a good amount of time on that, since that becomes kind of our last opportunity to have meaningful discussion
It's
about
gotta be higher on the agenda.
Yeah.
We up there at about 5A.
Did you resend the agenda with links, Martin?
So I was mistaken. The actual attachment didn't have the links, but the link to the agenda separate in there totally had the links. Very culpa, if is that what we say? So sorry, Martin.
No.
The new agendas.
So it's, the old agenda, we could put like all kinds of links on the agenda itself, documents and other websites and stuff. And this one, the printed agenda, like the PDF agenda, doesn't have any links. You have to go into the online version of it to have the links, and I don't know if there's a way around that.
I just felt really silly for not getting what was being said.
But maybe by adding the attachment, it does get confusing. You just
That's-
have the link.
I totally guess that's what threw me off.
Don't add attachments.
So no attachment. Okay, yeah, actually, I think some commissions do that, yeah,
Link here.
yeah. Everything's online. Okay.
At least now that you have regular Wi-Fi stuff, that's nice. I mean, that you don't have to worry about having it downloaded before.
Okay, so more to come on capital planning.
So reports, do we have anything to report on reports?
This is gonna be,
Yeah, we'll start the safe routes to school. We handed out those flyers. If you spend time walking or biking around Sunnyside, especially if you can take the survey. Anyone that you can, on the flyer, you can Google the safe routes to school infrastructure and the Metro Plan site, get to the survey. Or I have more flyers at my desk. I'm happy to hand them out if you guys want them. But we still have some time for that. You've given your input. Sam, I could tell which ones you felt. Very helpful.
Behind the curtain. Exactly.
You're welcome.
I dug in just the one time I got like this halfway through report.
You're like,
That's
Sam.
surveys are usually anonymous.
Good.
Yeah.
Which one's mine? So updates related to this, on November 6th. So this grant project is managed by Metro Plan, administrated by Metro Plan. And they signed their official contract with Kittleson Associates, the consultant that's on board to do the work. So that they're officially our consultant for it and we're proceeding. If you're interested in a more in-depth presentation on the Safe Streets Master Plan and its status, we're going to be talking about it at Transportation Commission on December 3rd. That's it really for updates there. I'll roll into Butler Avenue Complete Streets. Ultimately, there is a consultant on board and a contract to do phase 1 of the work, which is for design to get to 30% and the environmental clearances to be complete. That needs to be done, especially environmental, needs to be done by the end of February 2026. And we expect that the 30% design will match that time frame. And then ultimately the rest of the project can get designed through the bulk of 2026, looking for construction to begin in 2027. And we met recently with that consultant and everything is on schedule according to them. They've been working for about a month. So excited about that one as well. That's to Carlton for the next one.
More Butler. So this is down the east part of Butler, Butler Fourth. I think you guys have tracked some of that. The roundabout is there is the main idea. They regrouped the scope expanded for the I-40 interchange area. It'll go all the way to the northwestern on and off ramps on Butler and then all the way past the roundabout at Fourth. We should get separated bikeways all the way across that. They're in the process of getting 30% plan designs right now. Somewhere in that process, I don't know if I have a date or anything, but sometime soonish, we'll get that. It'll be incorporated and all the way through I-40 now.
Last report is vacancies and appointments. We have one vacancy on BAC and one member who's termed out. We have two members on PAC who have termed out. We have one application for PAC. We lost one applicant withdrew their name. We have multiple candidates for BAC. We're reviewing them now. We anticipate making the one PAC appointment and two BAC appointments in December. So they would be new at the December meetings. And I don't know, we might as well acknowledge our outgoing members at this time. On PAC, Jody termed out sometime in the late 90s. She's been serving since then. Jody may hold the record for the longest service because you started on Bicycle Advisory Committee way back when, and then you termed out on that. We go, oh, we cannot lose Jody, and we have spots on PAC, and she was interested. So now she's subsequently termed out on PAC. So back to PAC, I think is.
No, it's although if you got multiple applicants, then, and they're probably not nearly as cynical as I feel like.
Great tenure though. Good job. Experience.
It was great to be able to keep you on PAC. Like you're so thoughtful about all the issues that we cover.
Very kind part.
Way
kinder than I
You add
deserve.
a lot.
Number of times I open my mouth before I've totally thought about the things that you guys have gotten to see. So anyway, I hope that you guys I'll still try to at least listen in on some of the meetings and things. And maybe people will drop like flies out of the BAC and I just throw myself in there. Yeah,
Yeah, hang out on the sidelines with your new flask.
that's true.
Water bottle flask.
I can make little like grunts or noises when I'm unimpressed. Like,
When I was doing this.
we didn't have 130 miles of Putz Trail. We had 6 and we liked it.
Did you like it?
We made it. Thank you for all those years. Much appreciated. On Bicycle Advisory, Estella is one of our members who's terming out. It seems like you just got on. Estella, differently. Estella, in her previous job at Mountain Line was very involved in all these issues as part of her professional life as well. So having her on BAC was great. Super knowledgeable about bike issues. I think she knows a ton about some of the technical aspects of pedestrian and bicycle planning, and that's been a great asset to her role on the committee. Estella also has kind of this secret fierceness that comes up once in a while where she pushes back on things and she's never wrong about it. It's always like spot on, like things that so needed to be said in conversations. And she says it, but always in a very polite but firm kind of way. That's been, again, that's been a great part of this committee, and we'll miss that. So thank you for being part of the BAC for all these years.
You taught me so.
That's true.
And we have
Listening
cupcakes.
to my rants.
Informational items to and from commissioners and staff. I see on Butler that all the cones are gone and all the lanes are open, and are we pretty close to the lone tree ribbon cutting? What are we doing?
That's winter shutdown.
Winter shutdown.
Yeah, so they won't be working over the winter and they're trying to get the roads back into,
Okay,
as open as possible.
so on track for 2029.
Not sure, possibly, no.
Okay. I got my hopes up.
I have some items.
Go for it.
So Val and I had complained last time that the bike path on San Francisco Street had disappeared in the repaving and painting, and it's back now because Val very proactively sent an email to the city. So that was a good job to Val.
Yeah, I was really laughing that they were like, no, we didn't forget about it. The contractor didn't forget about it, and it was fixed the next day. So
Yep. So that worked, thanks. And it's there now. An unrelated thing or a related thing is that folks may not have heard or may have heard that ADOT has been doing a statewide listening tour, which is for some kind of visioning process that they're doing. Looking at Estella because she was in these meetings.
Yeah, they say ADOT's doing a long range transportation plan, but the first step is this like visioning session. So doing a listening tour throughout the whole state. So, yeah, they were in Flagstaff a couple weeks ago.
Estella and I were at some of those meetings, and gave our feedback, and, they have some kind of email listserv that you can follow if you want to stay attuned of it. I cannot tell how public that is, but if you're interested, then I'm sure that I could figure out how to connect you. And they did say at our meetings that they will probably they were talking about potentially coming back and engaging with a wider audience of stakeholders.
Yeah, I think there might be some more like town hall type meetings, which are then more open to the public. Right now, it's just been more like stakeholders, like Flagstaff Biking Organization and F Cubed and that kind of thing.
You're a consultant on it?
Yeah,
With it?
yeah, ACOM's
Yeah.
the project. I'm not very involved in it, but just because they were in Flagstaff, I was looped in.
If you want to share any information about, contacts or upcoming dates, I can make sure that PAC can get it.
Yeah, I don't know when they will be back, but,
Yeah, I'm not sure either.
but if I get anything, I'll let you know.
I've got an item. I had a citizen come up to me since I'm on the city council. He wanted to let me know that the bike lane at Elm and San Francisco, going up the one-way street up the hill, there's the traffic calming island at that intersection. And the bike lane disappears. And I asked Martin if we could talk about this, and Martin responded that it's been discussed before, but the problem remains that, and this particular citizen has been like a dog with a bone on this. He's talked to the mayor, he's written letters, he's sent emails, and it's his contention that, and I agree with him, that with the bike lane disappearing for 150 feet at that intersection, that it is a hazard for bicyclists. And he says sooner or later, somebody's going to be injured or killed, and then the city will be on the hook for liability at intersection. So what could be done? I've got a picture, by the way, if anybody wants to look at it. Just pass my phone around. At Elm and San Francisco. I'm sure the city had good intentions at heart when they put in the traffic calming island. There's a tree planted there. The question is it effective? do cars slow down because there's that island in the way? And I think everybody would agree that it's a bicycle hazard. So what could be done? We could carve out a continuous bike lane by widening the intersection off to the right. And of course, the city's just finished working on the curbs and gutters and sidewalks all up and down, all the way up San Francisco. So we kind of missed out on piggybacking on that project. But widening the street, having the bike lane curve out a little bit to the right would be one solution. Another solution would be to take out the island. If it's not really calming traffic and it's impairing the bike lane, bulldoze the island and restore the bike lane. So I told this citizen that I would bring it up and see what could be done. So I agree it's a problem, and let's think about a possible solution.
I agree it's a problem. I'll say I bike through there very frequently, pretty on a weekly basis, and I used to live on Elm. And I would not recommend removing the traffic calming. I do think there's a lot of speeding that happens on San Francisco, again, particularly if you're in the bike on San Francisco up to the courthouse, you're in the lane, in the vehicle lane, then you get shunted off to the side past the courthouse and people take off. I've almost gotten sideswiped there quite a bit. So I wouldn't say that removing the traffic calming, personally, from my experience, I wouldn't do that.
Is there a reason why the city is against, or maybe it's happening, elevated crosswalks as a mode of traffic calming through downtown? And you could remove the island, put an elevated crosswalk there. It's no problem to bikes. They just go up over. Cars have to drastically slow down. In a few places on both of those one ways to just slow traffic down and empower pedestrians, cyclists.
There's a presentation coming up to council in December about speed humps, which is, related kind of treatment. Raised crosswalks are a version of a speed hump. Do you happen to know when that is? I can provide that information.
It's the mayor's request that we talk about speed humps.
And it's specifically to talk about, are they something that the city could use for traffic calming?
I mean, it makes sense, right? Like my whole thing, like last month, as I brought this up too, and I hate that thing because it forces the cars into you. Is there's a million things in the city that give the feeling of empowering someone as a pedestrian or a commuter. And then that one person decides to commute because their route becomes safer. And then because of that, that person knows 100 people. And everyone's affected in this way of like, I want to be careful because that's my friend. And or I'm empowered to now commute because I'm seeing more people commute. And there's little things like that, for instance, that could become a raised crosswalk, whether it means anything or not, like crossing into someone's house. But it is a way for a pedestrian to be above traffic, look at someone, and the car has to slow down anyway and observe. And so rather than just a speed bump, like, hey, I'm just going to slow down, hit this. In my truck, I can hit it at 60 miles per hour because of my suspension. Speed humps, you can't. And if a pedestrian's eyeing me, I'm slowing down, you slow down. It's just Flagstaff has insane drivers that are going to hit speed bumps as fast as they can. You look at Mill Pond apartments, like seeing people going 50 in there. It's just like
those doctors and their BMWs trying to get to the hospital in the morning.
It just is like every little thing that the city could do to empower people to get the feeling of feeling safe, becoming commuter. Yeah, it's just like the RAGBRAI effect. All of you probably know RAGBRAI. Everyone in Iowa knows a cyclist that does RAGBRAI. And it's amazing the people that are biking on county roads. And everyone in a truck that here would be like, oh, I'm gonna swerve into the cyclist. Does the across the lane, slow by, because that could be their friend or sibling or whatever. Anyway.
You're right, Jay.
No, my mom is, and I do rag every year because it's the best party. If no one's done it, it's the most fun.
I went to University of Iowa
Did you?
for undergrad, yeah. I haven't done rag. Which is, I'm embarrassed to say that, but it's true.
While we're talking about this corridor, Jay, didn't you last time bring up also the intersection of San Francisco and whatever it is, where the light is? Help me out here, someone. Come
Spencer
on.
Canyon?
Yeah, right, where also the bike lane goes away and you're forced into the vehicle on the opposite side of the intersection, right by those
Truly goes away.
apartments. It truly goes away there.
I've never commuted Schweitzer really. I've explored it mainly.
It's on San Francisco, like if you're going up over.
Oh, that's the one I thought we were talking about. That's the
No,
one.
this is earlier,
That's before.
it's before.
That one needs to go away too, because they all just like you're biking and the car wants to go 50 in there. And they're like, oh, they're coming into your bike lane. Whether there's a bike lane or not, they are getting closer to you.
Yeah, that whole corridor's got
Because they're gonna go fast.
disappearing lane.
It really is too bad because I know we just did a bunch of work on it. And it's like, you hate to say, well, we did all this work, but we didn't quite get it right. So that doesn't feel good.
Great, that there's gonna be a presentation though on raised.
Yeah,
On bikes.
can you send that out so we can all go and be like, we want these?
Yeah.
Let's do some other road treatments.
Who from the BAC volunteers for the December 3rd Transportation Commission meeting? Anybody? Bueller?
I mean, I was supposed to do,
Ballard?
oh, there's some stuff in the chat too, if someone wants to read it.
I agree with Sam. I like that island.
Valerie said me for Transportation Commission, and City Engineer Paul Mood said speed humps go before council on 12/9.
Okay.
Is it like a myth that speed humps aren't good with plows? Cause that's what I've heard. That's why we don't have speed humps here. Is that a myth?
All will be revealed on the 9th.
Okay.
Val, you can do the December 3rd meeting?
I'll try to go too, because I want to hear about the safe streets.
Excellent, guys. Thank you, everybody. Is that it? Anything for the good of the order? Meeting's adjourned.
Please.
You'll have some company, Val, I think.
Yeah, I'll try to, they're
Thanks,
all online,
everyone.
right? Okay, not do them in person. I
Thank you, guys.
feel like I've never actually seen anyone show up in person for Transportation Commission.
The commissioner shows up and occasionally he gets a few. Matt Mitchell is doing it as well, I assume.
Should I go in person?
It's on my desk. We do it in person. It could be a nice time.
It's like a room full of staff.
Yeah.
Commissioners are, I know. Okay, well, that's good to know. So if I want to
I filled it out.
let you
Yeah,
go.
it's the same 3 consecutive pages that I filled out and gave you that have my name, address on the first page, then the second page, B and C.
See everyone.
On the last page is a $0 that I want to be paid back with my signature. So it's 3 pages.
Alternate.
And that's all.
Most of those areas get. Most of the water is, we kind of, I mean,
Yeah.
it's always a danger of a trail for.
Girls Hoffman?
What's that?
You know Gerald
That makes sense.
That's
How do I know that name? I know that name, but no, I don't.
Like.
This is not like.
No, I need,
I'll slide.
no, I do need all of that. I found out Phoenix. And then the rest of it, they only need the.
Show up in that kind of the same
Park
order.
Service certainly has like trails, streams, happens all the time. Right? It's always a challenge to not have it that like.
Just, this one, there was a stream and we put a trail and then it decided to be one.
Makes sense.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, it would be in there, you have the same 3 pages that I filled out, but. Yeah, if you want to just look for the 3 pages, 3 of them might be treated that way for the county clerk. I think that's the way I did it.
Stella, oh no.
Still here, still around.
Yeah, the first page has my name, address,
I
email,
feel like we'll still see.
second page, BCX.
You should just come face me on.
I don't be coming super fun.
They're not fun enough?
Yeah, leave the rest of the second.
Who knows?
What about you,
If Butler speed limits ever comes back on, dude.
you'll be here,
Yes.
and you'll have things to say.
And I-
Oh,
What about,
I'm restrained.
what about Transportation Commission?
What?
What about Transportation Commission?
yeah, we'll be in touch about it again.
That could be your career path. BAC, Transportation, Planning and Zoning, City Council. Well,
I believe in you. If you want to go that direction. For too long. That's fair.
I grabbed the lid. No, I'm not taking it.